I'm Anil Kumar and we'll further explore roots of quadratic equations in this video. The question here is, find the quadratic equation whose roots are the cubes of the roots of 2x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals to 0. Now let me give you some background before we begin solving this question. In general, a quadratic equation can be written as ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. If we divide by a, we'll get x squared plus b over a x plus c over a equals to 0, right? So that is that is one way in which you can write standard quadratic equation. The other way to write quadratic equation is like x squared minus sum of roots times x plus product of roots equals to 0. So that is another way of writing. Now if you compare these two quadratic equations, then sum of roots is minus b by a, right? So we get sum of roots equals to minus b by a, and product of roots, that is this, is equal to c by a, right? So that is what we get. So we are going to use these properties to solve the given question. Now, the equation before us is 2x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals to 0. So from here, we can write this as x squared plus, we can also write this 4 over 2x plus half equals to 0. Or we could also write this as x plus 2x plus half equals to 0. Now if you compare these two equations, then what do we get? We get sum of roots is equals to minus 2, right? So let the roots be x1 and x2. For this equation, let the roots be x1 and x2. In that case, x1 plus x2 for the given equation will be minus 2, right? So we could say sum of roots. And product means x1 times x2 will be half, correct? So from the given condition, that is what we have. Now in the question given is, find the quadratic equation whose roots are cubes of the roots. So we want to find a quadratic equation whose roots are cube, right? So that means for the new equation, the roots are x1 cube and x2 cube. So these are cubes of the given roots, right? Now if the roots are cube of these roots, then what we can do here is that we can find their sum and product. Once we get sum and product, we can write down the equation, right? So that is the strategy. Okay, so let's begin by finding sum and product. So first, let me find product of this. So product will be x1 cube times x2 cube, that is x1 times x2 whole cube. Now we know x1 times x2 is minus 2. Let me name these equations, right? Let's say this is equation 1 for us, this is equation 2 for us. Now x1 times x2 is minus 2, so we get product as equals to, let me write here, minus 2 whole cube, which is indeed minus 8. That is the product. Now let us find sum. Sum of new equation will be, roots will be x1 cube plus x2 cubes. That is what we get. Now if you remember the formula for sum of cubes, I could write this as a plus b, which is x1 plus x2 times a square minus ab, that means x1, minus ab, that means x1 x2, plus b square, correct? So that is the formula. Now we know what is x1 plus x2. Now here we have x1 square plus x2 square, which we don't know. Now what can we do about it? We know x1 plus x2 whole square is x1 square plus x2 square plus 2x1 x2. So that means I could write this as x1 plus x2 times we have x1 square minus x1 x2 plus x2 square. Now in this equation, if I add, we want 2x1 x2, right? So if I add 3x1 x2, then what happens? Add and subtract 3x1 x2. In that case, we can make it a perfect square. See how? x1 x2 times. So now we'll combine these terms. We'll combine these two terms, right? So if I combine these two terms, I get, this is x1 square minus x1 x2 plus 3 times x1 x2 gives us 2 times x1 x2, correct? And then we have plus x2 square minus 3 times x1 x2. Now the first term is x1 plus x2, which we know it is equals to minus 2. But here we could write these three terms as a perfect square, these three terms. Do you see that? So let me make a square bracket now for this whole thing. I could write this as x1 plus x2 whole square. And then I have minus 3 x1 x2, right? So that is how we can actually simplify the sum of cubes, and then once we write down these values which are known to us, we get our result. So sum will be x1 plus x2 from equation 1 is minus 2, so I'll write minus 2 here, times x1 plus x2, I wrote, let me write x here, yeah, okay. So x1 plus x2 whole square, that means x1 is minus 2 whole square, minus 3 times x1 x2, product is half. So that is what we get, right? Now this you could solve, which is minus 2 times 4 minus 3 over 2, right? So that gives you 4 times 2 is 8, 8 minus 3 is 5, right? So let me rewrite this here. So we get minus 2 times, within bracket, 4 times 2, 8 minus 3 over 2, right? That is to say, 2 and 2 will cancel with a minus sign, and 8 minus 3 is 5, so we get minus 5, correct? So sum of the roots which are cubic of the original roots is minus 5. Now we know both sum and product, so we can write down the equation. So the equation now for us will be, we'll write in this form, x square minus sum of roots. Sum of roots is minus 8 plus product of root times x, of course, plus product of root, which is, let me rewrite. This is sum, right? So this is sum and this is product, right? So we get our equation as x square minus sum of roots, which is minus 5, x plus product of roots, which is minus 8, equals to 0, right? So that could be written as x square plus 5x minus 8 equals to 0. So this equation, x square plus 5x minus 8 equals to 0, will have roots which will be cube of the roots of the given equation, right? So that is how we could actually solve such questions. I hope that helps. I'm Anil Kumar. You can subscribe to my videos and learn a lot. Thank you.